Fellow auto detailers, welcome to the show that features interviews with today's most successful auto detailers. This is the Auto Detailing Podcast. Here's your host, Jimbo Balaam.
Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to this episode of the Auto Detailing Podcast. Obviously, I'm Jimbo, your host. Today's episode is brought to you by Autofiber.com, and what I want you to do is sign up for the Towel of the Month Club. This is kind of taking the industry by storm, this Towel of the Month Club, mainly because it's such a great deal, and it gives you the opportunity to kind of try a different towel every month. And it's funny, I still have actually, well, depends who you ask. If you ask my wife, I don't have it anymore. But between you and I, since we'll keep it our little secret, I have a subscription to socks. I like socks, and I like to get them every month. And in fact, it's become my favorite thing to get. It comes in a nice box, and I get to pick out my patterns. And anyway, I'm getting too into socks. But the Towel of the Month Club by Autofiber gives me that same feeling every time. In fact, I start anticipating it every time throughout the month, waiting for what towel is it going to be. So you too can have that same feeling if you go over to autofiber.com, check out the Towel of the Month Club. And of course, you can use my offer code. That's just code Jimbo, nice and simple. And it's going to actually save you some money on the Towel of the Month Club and any other towels that you may find that you need on Autofiber's website. So sign up for the Towel of the Month Club, and I hope you guys enjoy this week's episode. Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to this episode of the Auto Detailing Podcast. Super excited for this jam-packed episode. We're going to be talking about business tips, business growth hacks to make detailers more successful. And with us today, we have Andre with Wings Mobile Detailing in Richmond, Virginia. And Andre has a last name that I didn't want to butcher. So Andre, welcome to the Auto Detailing Podcast.
Thank you, Jimbo. Thanks for having me here, man.
Of course. And how can you pronounce your last name for everyone?
I would say Mezzalira.
See, the problem is my tongue doesn't do that. So, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, in Italian way, I think they would more say Mezzalira, but it's, here they spell Mezzalira.
Well, I can't even say it at all, and I didn't want to embarrass myself, so I apologize for that. But anyway, you run Wings Mobile Detailing in Richmond, Virginia, and you have some very creative, kind of unique business kind of hacks and growth, and I love bringing on guys like you to the podcast to share that with everyone. Because everyone has a different flavor and everyone has a different way that they want to run their business, and different parts of the country and different parts of the world, things work differently. So my kind of feeling is the more ideas I can throw out there, the more people that are listening can kind of pick and choose what they want to try and implement and what things may work or not work kind of in their neck of the woods. So, but why detailing? How'd you get into detailing? Kind of give us your origin story. Where did it all start for you? How did it start? All that stuff.
Awesome, Jimbo. Yeah. So, man, if people ask me about that and they usually ask me if I love cars, do you love dealing with cars and being around? Are you a car enthusiast? That's not me, honestly, man. Although I love the business. I love how this particular business in this industry is. There's a lot of things that apply to any type of business, but mainly this one, the work itself is exciting. It's more of in a happy industry. People call because they want their car to look good and they are satisfied with the service. Our employees, they're also super happy. So overall, it's a really good, stable, and happy business, I would say.
Okay.
But when I started detailing, man, the main thing, what I wanted, I definitely didn't want to be in the corporate world. So the main thing that I really did want to be is to grow a business, but I was thinking mainly mobile. That's the one thing. I wanted something that would go to people's homes, so they can come to us, but mainly, we can take advantage of that, inconvenience for people and can go over there and do their cars over their place. And my vision was to have a fleet of vans that would go in and out, and I'll manage a fleet of vans. And then with time, it popped in my head, all the detailing. I didn't know a thing about detailing. I washed my dad's car when I was 8 years old with steel wool, so that was really bad.
Oh, man.
But I learned a lot,
Sure,
I don't
of course.
do that anymore.
So what was your background then, or where were you working, and how did you find out about detailing? Was it like, were you working a corporate job and then you had like a detailer that was working in the parking lot and you saw it as an opportunity? Because you're right. Like, I think and I'm glad to kind of stretch our detailer minds that not everyone enters this field because of passion. Though the vast majority of detailers get started. And it's kind of interesting because the vast majority of people who run a detailing business do it because they're super passionate about it. And one thing that I've found out that happens, and I'm that way. I love cleaning cars, right? I'm not a huge car guy per se, but I do enjoy detailing cars, right? But I realized, and what I found out, we're talking hundreds of detailers, probably thousands now, is that sometimes passion gets in the way. Right? And a passion for cleaning cars, or a passion for cars in general, gets in the way of these detailers from running a successful business. And that's kind of the conclusion I came to, and why I wanted to have you on, is that it'll help stretch our detailer minds that not everyone enters this because of a dying passion for cars or whatever. And that's okay, right? A lot of these product brands start because they see an opportunity, right? So, but where did the detailing kind of niche come on your radar then? How did you find out about it? How did you see the opportunity?
Right. So, Jimbo, I think the one thing I do remember is watching a video of someone detailing their car. And what I had in my mind back then was, back to that, I want to start a mobile business so I can go to people's house. And when I saw someone, and as far as I can remember, someone washing their cars, I'm like, maybe I can do this mobile. And I didn't know it already existed. But that doesn't make a difference. It's not about a new idea. It's about the way, run the business.
Sure. Yeah.
And that was so true. I never heard it that way, but that's true. The passion, because the passion that I have, I would say, is more towards growing a business, branding out there, and growing the name, and managing a fleet of vehicles. If I had the passion, and I know some people just totally okay, some people who is more self-employed and they don't want to grow a business to grow a business. They want to grow a business to work.
100%. And that's okay too.
And totally, and I have total, people who does that. And I was thinking it's awesome because at the end of the day, let's do what we enjoy doing.
Yep.
And but the only thing is, as you said, that if the passion's over there, you're not going to grow past that. If my passion were to say, let's say, I just want to have 2 vans on the road, I can have 3 vans. But that's such an awesome point. But and that's how it grew. It was from a video, and I was like, oh, maybe this mobile detailing could work. And then I started to learn everything about detailing. I scratched some cars on my own, not customers' car, but testing in and out.
Yep.
And then with time, I learned wet sanding, ceramic coating, the best, learning everything about products. And then I started to have really believe in all that we were doing, at the same time growing a system of, as I said, my focus was to grow a business. And that's how we expanded and franchise out to another location in Virginia Beach. And using the same system, training videos with all the mentality to grow, expand, and hire more employees. So everything in an easy way. We're going to hire employees. Here's the training video, contracts, already CRM systems, all taken towards, the mindset of expanding the business.
Sure. So much more of a done for, kind of paving the way and creating a done for you method. Therefore, someone who is entering the detailing business for whatever reason they want to, they can kind of shortcut that learning curve, right? Because those are, big stumbling blocks that people have, is that, they don't know how to hire. They don't know where to start. They don't know what to do,
Yes.
And so, yeah, that's very cool. So how long has it been from like idea to kind of start it? And then you currently have one franchisee, I guess, right? And that's kind of how we got connected. Is that person is a fan of the show. So yes. How did it how did it begin?
So I started here in Richmond 5 years ago.
And you started by actually doing it, right? You were detailing,
yes.
Even though you didn't have a passion for it, you actually were detailing.
Yes, no, I learned everything about detailing. It started literally. So this is how it happened. I was during this time I was going to college, more towards peer pressure that I was going to college. But that was for me, college, for me personally, it's a really great sleep place. If you're going to sleep, for me, it's the perfect place to be.
What's weird about that is I used to, when I didn't go to a university, I just went to a community college. But I actually recently, sorry, this is going to be kind of a tangent, but I recently thought all my good ideas happened in the classroom. In a college class, and I thought, man, maybe I should try this. Maybe I should just go sit in on some classes to see if just being in that setting kind of gets my juices flowing, because I was so bored with what they were talking about that my idea generation I would sketch a lot in class and come up with a lot of ideas, and it's weird. I actually thought about going back to college and just sitting in some classes just as a simple exercise for idea generation.
I have a place that I am too that gets me in that mood, Jimbo, is when I'm out there in the field doing the detailing, which that was part of my mistake of eventually, leaving the front line, because the business is now at a point where I don't necessarily need to be there.
Gotcha.
It's more worth to not be there in the front line and manage the team with the supervisors that's in place. But I feel better, much more motivated, get more ideas when I'm out there and I have listening, not to be biased towards this, but listening, podcasts for people who is growing their business every time. And I'm listening to this. I'm always like, man, I can do this and that. I've always get a lot of ideas.
Yep.
That's the place. And sometimes working out,
yep.
Which is interesting.
Yep. That's kind of something that I struggle with currently right now too, is that, and why I kind of made a vow to myself, I'll never stop going and doing customers' cars, because I'm worried about losing that touch, with the client, or keeping your ear to the ground. The hard part, like you said, is it becomes not worth it to go do a car, right? Or to be your time is more valuable spent doing other things, which is a good problem to have. It just is. It's a difficult decision to make.
It is. And Jimbo, that's actually the problem that if anybody has an answer for that, that's the problem that I'm having right now, because it makes sense for the business growth for me not to be there, because there's so much things to do, as you know. But for me personally, it's if I go out and come back in the afternoon, I'm killing it. I'm going to do everything, and no procrastination in my mind. I did commit a mistake, though, in the business of leaving the front line, which is being out there a bit too early, and that's when I had forcefully to go back.
So what happened? Talk about that. Let's talk about, because I want to talk about the good and the bad, right? Because we learn from, I think we learn even more from our mistakes as we do from our wins, right? So, but what, so you start out, you have this idea for detailing, and then you kind of have this big vision for it, and then you start actually going out there and detailing cars and actually doing it, and your plan starts to come to fruition, right? But what as you started to grow, what were some of the first initial pain points or issues, I guess, that you started to run into?
Yes. So unfortunately, yes, I learned more from the mistake that happens, and then I have to go and fix. But that's when we come back. I was like, man, it's something so simple. Why did I commit that mistake? But we always repeat the same. But it's a learning process. That was, Jimbo, it was the area where I had, at that time, I had two vans going out, which was, I would say, a year and a half ago that this happened. And two vans going out, I have 2 employees on the road. So one with me in the van, and the other van. So, and I was, driving one van, and the employee was driving the other, and super nice guy. I mean, it's, I call them, part of our team because they're all have really good training too with us. But they decided to, and I knew that was going to happen because I was told that he was there only for school, kind of an employee that wasn't there for longer.
Right.
And therefore, I didn't prepare myself like we are prepared now to take that hit. And, if worst case scenario, if that happens, that's not how I look at the business, for our team to go. But that happened. And
what happened?
When I was ready.
What happened though?
No, the employees had to go away. The employee had to.
Oh, got it. He quit.
Go to full-time to school. He
got
quit,
it.
yes.
Okay. So you had him out there, you're
Yes.
kind of ramping up, and he left, and you kind of didn't expect him to leave at that time.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
And at that time, I was preparing to purchase another van and train
Got it.
one more employee to take my place and all of that.
Gotcha.
And I didn't prepare before. I didn't start training somebody before. And before, it took us much more time, more than 2 months for us to train each employee because I didn't have training videos. I didn't have any material for that. And waste process. So everything will take longer. And when that happens, I'm like, I was felt like I walked, a year back.
Got
I
it.
stepped back
Because you had to
for a
take
year.
that van off the road. You had to find someone and then train them and then get them to the point where they could even take that van out on their own.
Yes.
Instead of essentially, so
And-
what would you have had that employee start training someone else before he left?
Exactly. If I've had start training before, that wouldn't have happened because I would be prepared for that to happen. Like right now, with an extra guy that I have and to really check, but also with the training material, which is for us to train, it's much quicker. I don't have to wait all that time. So that was the mistake, what happened. And that brought me back, really. But mainly was my mentality because my plan back there for me to hire another employee, hire another one, and get another van out there was for me to leave on the front line. And, now I'm going to be working from home. Now I'm going to be only managing, which is more work. And so that's when I thought I was ready to do that, and I have that in mentality. I was excited to reach that point, but that happened, and I felt like I walked back many steps.
I think a good thing that keeps getting brought up that I want to kind of touch on are these training videos. So my very first job was In-N-Out Burger, right? Which a lot of people know. It's kind of predominantly on the West Coast, and my first full day, and probably the best training I ever had out of like the 3 jobs I had, was the training that I got from In-N-Out Burger, right? And I think the first full day of training was doing just that, just watching videos, and they kind of went through their expectations and kind of the rules of the kitchen and how you treat customers and guests and kind of everything, right? And then you go one-on-one with someone and kind of the practical training starts, right? But is that, when you talk about your training videos, is it just that? And how did you do these videos? How do you walk your potential employees through these videos? How does that all look like?
Yeah, so pretty much it's what it is. It's a video that I send to employees that it's about to start with us. So, I find a new hire, I send them. The videos are technical videos, how to do our particular services that we offer. So on our website where people book online, they have our specific services there. And that's pretty much showing how to do a deluxe detail service, a premier detail service for the employees to know. That's not just that, but it's a guideline with all the services for them to read on customer service that I give to each employee. So what to do when they get to the customer's house, greet them by name. Something really simple, but it's got to be there. It's got to be a norm.
And have you
before starting.
Did you kind of role play these videos too, or is it more of like a PowerPoint presentation that you put together that they watch, or did you actually role play it and have like someone come out and, you know, when you walk up to the door, do this, and when they answer the door, do this? What does that look like?
Yeah, no. So the on the guidelines is a sheet of paper, but the videos are the technical. So yes, literally, it's me detailing a car and doing leather shampoo, leather serum, doing ceramic coating. It's a literal video of me doing the service with steps and talking in the background, how it's supposed to do. And
Gotcha.
That's just one of the things that I have already for when training to expedite. That's just in regard to training employees. Among other things, because I'm a huge fan of educating, you know, of let's say for sales training as well, but that's more towards people who wants to grow their own business, you know, with us, their own detailing business. And we also offer that sales training that's from actually a Grant Cardone. It's a sales training university. I think I've heard you speak about him before. Yes. So we have the training, and that is another thing that it helps me tremendously. Me personally, when I go to dealerships and cold calling, not that that's necessary right now, but when we're building the business,
sure.
Even in the beginning, when we grow the business, we grow it quite rapidly with our website and online presence. But it's fundamental that people do go over door to door and even cold calling, because I feel like that's the foundation of any business, just to prepare them to receive no's.
Right.
Not that they're going to need it. So I realized, you know, the importance of education after we commit to getting educated through these videos. And then I look back, I was like, man, if it wasn't for these, you know, it would take me much, much longer. And it's hard to realize that because you're like sitting down
totally
looking at books sometimes,
Yep.
you know?
Yep. How did you, kind of to jump onto another subject real quick or tangent, how did you get customers in the beginning? Was it cold calling? And if it was cold calling, how did you pick who to call?
So at the beginning, when I started first, right now it's a little bit differently, but at the beginning when I started, so really short story here on how I started. When I had the idea of doing detailing, I literally did one car a month. Then in 1 month I did 4 cars. I was like, man, there's no way I'm going to do 1 car a day. That was kind of the very first year. And I was using my brother's beat up Mitsubishi. He had a 4-door sedan. I put a Walmart vacuum inside. So that's how I started at the beginning. I was going door knocking, literally.
Wow, okay.
Went to the door. And every time we'd be doing this, you know, it would be really slow. I did a flyer on Vistaprint, and it looks terrible if I look back right now, that material. But it was it. Cold calling, I went to Google Maps, look for businesses, and also dealerships. Dealership came up later, about a year and a half, when I was like, hey, I can do dealerships and actually charge them, you know, because they will pay for it. Because I didn't believe much back then, and I don't think anybody does. They don't actually do it. And that was it. And I started to really slowly, and then I eventually bought a truck, and a lot went on with water tanks that I couldn't fit on the truck, and start to listen to a lot of podcasts. That started to boost me, you know, business selling, reading a lot of books on how to sell, following Grant Cardone's method, and so all of that has boosted me to every time I would go to a dealership, I would write this script on myself for me to personally to learn the objections that they would give me, and then I'll encounter them the next time. So it started. I'm sorry. I'm hoping I'm not getting out of track.
No, you're
here.
good. You're good. Let's bring it to current day then. Where are you at now? And kind of what is the next, I don't know, call it 3 to 6 months look like for your business?
Right. So right now, I have 3 vans going out with 4 employees here in Richmond, and I'm about to look into getting another van. I was going to dealership today, but to acquire another van and hire 1 more employee. So now I'm 24 years old. When I started, it was 5 years ago, right after high school. It started really slow, but I still have that mentality. I want to grow. And right now we're looking with the 3 vans I have in my car, so it counts as another company vehicle that I use to go out at times. And then the beginning of last year, franchise out to a guy which is following my steps in Virginia Beach. He has 2 vans over there already. In less than a year, he purchased the second van, which was a third of the time that it took me. And he's growing, quite rapidly over there. Really excited with the style of the business, how following the same mentality of growing. For me to grow in Richmond, I have a number, that I want to reach, and I have like big ambitious goals that I want to achieve, like in the future. And I write my goals down every day, and we're always hitting those targets. But it's goals that I'm reaching now that me looking 3 years ago, I thought it was like, when you start making six figure in a year, that's going to be awesome. And the business has reached that point, has passed the 6-figure mark on revenue. And now that we make 6-figure, realize, oh man, that's nothing, so it's always, it's always looking forward. I know it's not going to change the more we make, but it's always exciting, the thrill of growing the business. So we're on the same team, all excited to grow, and the technical part itself, the detailing also in the business. Not only does it offer that opportunity of growth, but the technical work itself is pretty awesome. It's pretty motivating.
So I want to try to give a couple practical tips as we kind of wrap up here. Maybe give us the top 3 things that work best for you, especially now that you have multiple vans, couple locations, 5 vans between the 2 of you. What are maybe 3 tips that you can give to other detailers listening right now that they can implement into their business that'll help their business grow?
Okay, so Jimbo, one of the things which sounds really simple, but it's all about branding. I'm a huge guy into branding the name, and even though when you don't see the results shortly, but it always pays back bigly later on. One of the things pretty practical that I do, and I do, talk to people a lot about that, a lot of things here and there, growing a CRM system, follow-ups, is in a marketing perspective, there is a way, it's a really quick tip. This is a quick tip that when you go to Google Maps, and let's say I go play golf sometimes, you go to Google Maps to look the Crossings Golf Club, and it shows on the Google Maps section their business. When I go there, people want to see people who want to play golf completely outside from the business. I can use that page of theirs to brand my name while helping them out, which is I go there, I take picture of the golf clubs, but I put my logo on the picture, and I post typing a review for the golf course. So people are looking at that golf course or whatever business. They're like, oh, nice photos this guy posted. You go there and take some nice photos. And they're saying kind of the trademark, the Wings Mobile Detailing name. And your business get noticed on Google because, people who are looking up there, your business would also get noticed on Google because they're doing under that account. And it's branding. It's in people's mind. Thinking big, you can do it in any business because, it's beneficial for their business and yours too. The other thing that I see is what people see in the customer service. For me, even when I hire employees or help people to grow their business, is I have them focus, you don't have to know detailing. Detailing is just the technical part.
Right.
But the customer service, for example. Right now, you call a lot of, as you may know, a lot of mobile detailing business you call is not willing to help you with everything they got, and even follow up. So we have a system of when we do a car, we follow back with the client, ask, hey, how was the service? Every time we finish a service, we either send them an email or call them, each client individually, to ask how the service was. That by itself shows the customer that we're there for them. If a customer call me wanting to do something completely unrelated to the business, they don't want to auto detailing, they want a flower pot for them, I'm not going to say, no, we don't do that. I'll go to Google search for them and give them a place for them where they can buy it. So we're not in the much auto detailing business that I focus on, but people business. So everything I'm going to provide to the customer. I'll do whatever I can to the customer, whatever they need.
Awesome, man. Yeah. You got one more, or is that it?
That's one of them. And I do, as far as I can think of, man, right now, the take photos of businesses. It's really interesting because your photo does start getting noticed online. You get emails from Google how your people, 1,000 people saw your photo, and they know 1,000 people saw your logo.
Right.
So it's getting out there.
Awesome.
And that's what mainly I talk about, Jimbo as well, and. I put a lot of info as well out there myself and talk about this business thing, whatever, people want to ask for, sales scripts, advertising, employees contract. And I listen to a lot of yours podcast. I remember a guy was telling about the dealership thing. I see how I can apply to my business too. It's really awesome.
Awesome, man. If people want to get a hold of you or contact you, reach out to you, maybe they're in the Richmond, Virginia area and are interested in some of the things that you can offer, how can they get a hold of you?
Yeah, so whenever they type in, if they pretty much go to Google, type in Wings Mobile Detailing, they can find us. We're on all social media. We have a podcast too, Jimbo, but it's more relating to the business part. But it's all under the Wings Mobile Detailing name. They can find us wherever they type in.
Awesome, man. This has been great.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Jimbo. It's pretty awesome to share the knowledge and go networking. I do a lot of networking too, which is it just like opens your mind when you're in school at a class. Me going to network meetings too, it gets me wanting to kill it and do everything for the business, like a lot of ideas.